In many places, used green to be by far the most common railway color. Virtually everything was painted in it, whether it be locomotives, passenger wagons, and to some extent even goods wagons and infrastructure. But why the obsession with green, and why has it become so rare nowadays? Over time, many different shades of green have been used, of course, but I'm specifically referring to the darker greens, which were often made from chromium oxide, like the Great Western's middle chrome green or the Deutsche Bundesbahn's Chromoxidgrün, to just give you two examples. Historically, the most important property of paint, being stated in almost every 19th century paint proposition, is durability. Painting a locomotive, or even just a wagon, was a labor-intensive and therefore quite expensive process. So it was only in the railway's own interest to try to keep the need for repainting as little as possible by choosing a paint that is resistant to dirt, weather and sunlight. And in the paint-making world of the 19th and early 20th century, only dark colors could live up to that. But not all dark colors either. Dark blue and purple, for example, faded out quite unfavorably. The more sensible options were therefore either dark shades of red, green or grey, brown or black. But also dark red can be crossed from the list, as it was quite expensive, and therefore just like blue, purple or any light colors, sparingly used. Leaving us with green, brown, grey and black, as you probably are aware of, all very common railway colors. Black, of course, eventually became the dominant color for steam locomotives, especially goods locomotives, but was in the early years hardly appropriate for more representative rolling stock like passenger locomotives or passenger wagons. In addition to that, it was common practice to use black for painting edges and borders, so a different color was needed anyway. Grey and brown, being the cheapest ones, became popular choices for goods wagons, leaving only green whenever a more elegant color was needed while still being fairly cheap to manufacture. So called in 1843 Nürnberg's Railway Construction Committee green eine wohlfeile und dauerhafte Farbe, an inexpensive and durable paint, before going on to remark, and that is where things become interesting, that the emblems worn by the respective wagons have to be taken into account when choosing a suitable paint color. These emblems being heraldic achievements. It just so happens that gules, red, is by far the most common heraldic color, followed by the metals ore and argent, gold and silver. And as red is a contrasting color to green, the choice becomes a very easy one. While azure and purpure, blue and purple, still stand out enough against green paint, is vert on the other hand, green, rarely used in heraldry. But besides being the cheapest colorful color and a good contrast to most crests, was green maybe also commonly used as it blends in well with a landscape, whether as an aesthetical or tactical decision. But I couldn't find any sources confirming or denying this. But either way, nowadays, railways seek the exact opposite, to stand out, for advertisement as well as for safety reasons like we have talked about in regard to bright red paint. And as paints have become a lot more durable, became also bright colors, like bright red, or yellow, light blue, or even lime green, increasingly popular in the mid to late 20th century. A dreary dark green, on the other hand, does simply not fit that bill. A bright green thank you goes to my channel members, including Kontrian, Dave Heise, Flip Schwip, Kay Frankly, Lucas Ilskens, Martin Wigiken, Søren Dominic Cook, and Steamy Player. Thank you for your tremendous support. And now to a paint with a completely different purpose: photographic grey.